Good morning, everyone. We'll call the council meeting of Tuesday, May 28th to order at 9 a.m. We'll start off with the land recognition. I'd like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the traditional territories of the Blackfoot and the people of Treaty 7 region in southern Alberta. The city of Chestermere is also home to the Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. Mr. Vincent, any changes to the agenda?
Mr. Official Administrator, procedurally, we would ask that items number 8.1, 8.2, 8.3, and 8.4 be moved forward on the agenda prior to 7.1. It would be appropriate to have the outline plans dealt with before the land use bylaws. And if we may renumber 8.1 to 7A, 8.2 to 7B, 8.3 to 7C, and 8.4 to 7D. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent. With that, I'll move that the official administrator approve the May 28th, 2024 regular council meeting agenda as amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to the approval of the minutes. May 13th special council meeting. I'll move that the official administrator move the May 13th, 2024 special council meeting minutes as presented. So moved. All in favor? Carried. May 14th special council meeting. I'll move that the official administrator approve the May 14th, 2024 special council meeting minutes as presented. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to the May 14th regular council meeting, I'll move that the official administrator approve the May 14th.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Official Administrator, if I may, I did notice an issue with the minutes on the regular council meeting, and I apologize, I just noticed it this morning here. If I could offer an amendment and a suggestion. On page 4 of those particular minutes, which is page 15 in our agenda package, motion 240514-14, it says motion that official administrator rescind motion number 240514-10 and approve the 5-year fire service forecast as presented. I think that last part, and approve the 5-year fire forecast as presented, was not the intention of that motion. At the time, I think the motion was to rescind the previous motion that had approved the fire forecast.
Sorry, could you tell me which motion again, please?
240514-14 on page 4 of those minutes, or 15 of our agenda package.
Second last motion on the page, sir.
That's correct. It should not have that.
So if we could strike the words "and approve the 5-year fire forecast as presented."
Thank you for that.
Welcome. Thank you.
You haven't got it all yet, Kallen. And approve the 5-year fire service forecast as presented. I'll move that the official administrator approve the May 14th, 2024 regular council meeting minutes with the following amendment. Amend motion 240514-15, I believe that should be 14, to remove the words "and approve the 5-year fire service forecast as presented." So moved. All in favor? Carried. And we have no public presentations. Moving into the public hearings. Our first public hearing is for Dawson's Landing Land Use Amendment. I'll move that the official administrator open the public hearing for bylaw 012-24, Dawson's Landing Land Use Bylaw at 9:01 a.m. So moved. All in favor? Carried. And Terrence?
Good morning, Mr. Administrator. I'm presenting item 5.1, a request for decision for bylaw 1012-24, being amendments to Chestermere's land use bylaw number 020-24 as amended. Please note that the applicant is in attendance and plans to make a presentation and address any questions that you may have. On to my presentation. Administration is recommending the following motions. First one, the official administrator gives second reading to bylaw 012-24, being amendments to land use bylaw number 020-24 as amended and as shown on Schedule A of the bylaw 012-24. Second motion, that the official administrator give third reading to bylaw 12-24, being amendments to the land use bylaw number 20-24 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 12-24. This bylaw received first reading on May 14th and a public hearing scheduled for today. The notice of public hearing was posted on the city's website for 2 weeks starting on May 14th. Public notices were also sent to landowners within 200 meters of the affected sites, and a land use sign was installed on the site for 2 weeks. The proposed land use amendment is twofold, affecting two distinct sites in Dawson's Landing. Site 1 is a plus or minus 0.22 hectare private green space in a recently developed direct control residential cottage housing district. There are no dwellings or other built forms on the site. A redesignation to Public Services PS District would allow that space to be classified as non-credited municipal reserve, which would supplement the public park spaces in Dawson's Landing. Site 2 is a plus or minus 8.06 hectare site comprised of two districts. The first district is residential single detached, R1, and the second is direct control residential cottage housing district, DC, R-2C. The R1s will be redesignated to either residential planned lot front drive, R-1 PFD, or residential planned lot rear lane, R-1 PRL. Lands with rear lanes as depicted in Schedule 1 of the bylaw will be redesignated to R-1 PRL, while the lands with front drive access will be redesignated to R-1 PFD. The redesignation of the planned lot districts is anticipated to increase the number of dwelling units in Site 2 by 38, from 108 single-family detached dwellings to 144 planned lot dwellings. This redesignation to planned lots represents 35% of the single-family housing in the outline plan to a planned lot development. The proportion of the resulting planned lots in the outline plan complies with Section 3.4.4.4 of the Municipal Development Plan, where the proportion of planned lots in an outline plan cannot exceed 50%. This calculation is based on the number of planned lot dwellings divided by the total number of single dwellings in an outline plan area. The remaining direct control R-2C land in Site 2 is proposed to be redesignated to residential multifamily R3. The maximum density within an R3 district is 44 units per hectare. Development on the site will be outlined on a future development permit application. A redline version of the Dawson's Landing outline plan has been included as Attachment A, which demonstrates revisions to the planning document that are required to ensure alignment with this proposed land use amendment. The proposed amendments to the outline plan will be brought to council under separate cover in conjunction with the bylaw 17-24, the Chestermere Outline Plan repealing bylaw. Therefore, bylaw 012-24 is for the land use bylaw amendments highlighted today. Administration requested that the applicant provide a technical memo confirming that the proposed amendments will not impact the approved outline plan servicing and infrastructure, including stormwater management, storm pond, sanitary, and water servicing. The applicant complied, and a technical memo was submitted by the applicant, was reviewed and accepted by administration, thereby satisfying that request. Administration anticipates that no significant implications will occur in approving these proposed amendments to Dawson's Landing Outline Plan. Mr. Administrator, if I may, please allow me to repeat administration's recommendations before I conclude my presentation. Motion 1. The official administrator gives second reading to bylaw 12-24, being amendments to the land use bylaw 20-24 as amended and as shown in Schedule A of bylaw 12-24. Second motion, that the official administrator give third reading to bylaw 12-24, being amendments to the land use bylaw 20-24 as amended and as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 12-24. This concludes my presentation, Mr. Official Administrator, and I'm ready to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Terrence. I have no questions. I'll call a first time for presentations from the public in support of the bylaw amendment. Calling a first time. Calling a second time for presentations in support of the application. Calling a third and final time for anyone wishing to speak in support of the application. Does the applicant wish to speak?
David Symes from Stantec as the applicant for the application. I've also got members of Qualico here to respond to any questions, and we do have a brief presentation.
Okay, please go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you.
We can go to the next slide. Good morning again. Dawson's Landing is an outline plan that was originally approved in April 2018. Approximate area of 108 hectares with an anticipated dwellings of 1,750 at a density of 7.7 units per acre. Over the past few years, Qualico have been building out in accordance with the outline plan, and we're in a position where the development has been substantially subdivided with a few remaining phases available for land use change. As part of this land use amendment, we're looking to provide a more equitable balance of housing products in accordance with the recent MDP amendment that modified policy 3.4.4 with respect to the number of planned lots allowed within new communities. The amendment will promote housing diversity and more affordable housing options, in particular with Site 2 in the southwest corner of the community. We've also made a minor change to Site 1 indicated in the northeast portion of the community, converting an existing private open space into a public area as non-credit MR. As outlined within administration's presentation, the specific modifications to the land uses are indicated here. We'd like to thank administration for their time supporting this file, and both Stantec and Qualico are available for any questions.
Anything further?
Nothing further.
Thank you. I have no questions. Calling a third and final time for people speaking in support of the application. Calling a first time for anyone speaking in opposition to the application. Please come to the mic.
Good morning, Mr. Official Administrator. My name is Joanne Lemna, and I'm a resident of Chestermere. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about the proposed land use bylaw 012-24 being the Dawson's Landing land use amendment. After reviewing the documents, it's evident to me that we need more public engagement before proceeding with any decision on this proposed use land bylaw amendment. Site 1 is only half an acre, and it is to be redesignated to public service district to allow for more non-credit park space. This idea resonates with many residents, and the addition of more green space and parks for families is welcome. However, the just shy of 20-acre Site 2 redesignated proposal is an area of concern. In the public hearing documentation, the implication section should acknowledge the detrimental impact of removal of transitional housing for seniors. In January 2018, the Dawson's Landing Outline Plan was presented to Council for first reading, and it included the addition of residential cottage housing district identified as DCR-2C. According to this outline plan, the purpose of this district was, quote, to allow for cottage buildings in the form of cottage housing clusters. This form of housing clusters can be single detached dwelling around common space. Proposing cottage housing aligns with Dawson Landing's goals to provide a diverse offering of housing products that will attract varying demographics. The parcel in the southwest exists close to proximity to the Eco Park, while the northeast parcel is adjacent to the town center proposed in the Bridgeport Outline Plan, end quote. Later, the anchor reported alignment of the cottage housing land use district was received for information during the December 8th, 2018 Committee of the Whole meeting. The article also quoted the Senior Manager of Planning and Growth and Community Infrastructure saying cottage housing is part of the community's overall housing strategy, which intends to encourage affordability, innovation, and variety in housing design and site development, and ensures compatibility with existing neighborhoods and to promote a variety of housing choices to meet the needs of population diverse in age, income, household composition, and individual needs. He went on to say that the overall theme of residential housing diversification led to the incorporation of this innovative residential development type. It's about residential diversity. So discussions amongst councillors during these presentations and open houses was very significant, and the benefit that this designation would have for the older adult community within Chestermere. It was already identified as early as 2018 that there was a significant gap in transitional housing for seniors in our city. There was little to no opportunity for seniors to downsize and remain in Chestermere. They were moving out of our community. In addition to this designation, residential cottage housing district was determined to fill the gap and provide the much-needed transitional housing option for these seniors. This was well received by the community at large. Site 2 also redesignates the DCR-2C residential cottage housing to R3 high-density housing. The application doesn't really include the increase in units, so I'm unable to comment other than it appears to significant increased density in this 20-acre parcel. The R1 being redesignated to R1 PRL and FD, which even with the planned lot ratio of 35%, still increases this density by 35.8%. That's over a third more units than originally proposed and approved. The major concern I have about this proposal is the increased densification without real appropriate community engagement. The notice of circulation to adjacent properties within 200 meters of the subject site may meet the requirements. However, these lands are mostly vacant and at present time still owned by the developer and or building, so they were giving notification to themselves. It would not be surprising to receive very little to no response from the community, as they will not be aware of the changes proposed. The signage posted is in low traffic, vacant space, so not informative to the community at large. This is a community concern, and more public engagement needs to be considered. With increasing density, schooling, infrastructure, roads also become key issues. I would propose that it would be appropriate to perhaps place a moratorium on any changes impacting the density of our community until such times as the infrastructure is caught up with our dramatic growth. Our children are in schools beyond capacity, our amenities are lacking, and our infrastructure as a whole is significantly lagging. Density seems to be a hot topic on the street these days, and this decision should perhaps be tabled until after the by-election to ensure robust community engagement to make the decision that is right to benefit the community of residents of Chestermere's beyond the benefit of developers and builders. We must also acknowledge the detrimental impact removal of transitional housing for seniors will have on residents. Finally, I implore you, Mr. Official Administrator, to table this bylaw to allow the newly elected council to the opportunity to engage with residents in a more robust way to truly understand our position on this matter. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Joanne. Calling a second time, is there anyone else wishing to speak in opposition to the bylaw? Calling a third and final time, is there anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the bylaw? Kallen, have we had any correspondence for or against the application?
No, we have not.
Okay. Terrence, do you have any closing comments?
Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Administrator. The redesignation to R3, it does provide an additional breadth of housing options. It does provide the housing options that may be a little bit more affordable in the form of townhomes or small-scale multifamily developments such as that. So there is an opportunity to provide additional housing options that may be more affordable and that may be transitional in nature. But that won't be, that won't be confirmed until a development permit is submitted.
And currently the cottages that were referred to, that option has been removed,
Yes.
as you stated earlier. That's correct. Thank you, Terrence. With that, if we could have a motion to close the public hearing. I'll move that the official administrator close the public hearing for bylaw 01224 Dawson's Landing Land Use Bylaw at 9:18 a.m. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to item 5.2. Morning, Jack.
Good morning, Mr. Official Administrator. How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Good to hear. My name is Jack Shipton, Planner 1 with Community Growth and Infrastructure. Today I'll be presenting a request for decision on bylaw 013-24. First reading on this file occurred on April 23rd, and a public hearing was scheduled for May 28th, that is today. On the notice of public hearing, notification was distributed as follows. Online notice was posted to the city website from May 9th to May 28th. Hard copy notice was mailed to adjacent properties within 200 meters of the subject site on May 10th. And signage was approved per city guidelines and posted on the subject site on May 14th. No written submissions were received from members of the public as of noon on May 16th. On the bylaw now, this file proposes amendments to the Land Use Bylaw 020-24 in the Waterford Estate Outline Plan area. It should be noted that Land Use Bylaw 020-24 was adopted on May 14th and is now in effect. A bit of background on these files. The Waterford Estates Outline Plan was approved September 2018 following the completion of Phase 1 of this development. Lee Mahar took over engineering in subsequent phases. During this time, it was discovered that the location of Phase 1 was shifted approximately 13 meters west as compared to the original outline plan. This shift affects future Waterford Estates phases as well as the Waterford Stage 1 outline plan. A combined site plan highlighting the proposed shifts and how they interlink has been provided as Attachment A. It should be noted that this bylaw 13 and bylaw 14, which will be presented later on the council agenda, are focused on the same issue, correcting alignment between outline plans through the proposed land use amendments. Each bylaw will be presented highlighted as solely a land use amendment, and with bylaw 017-24, the outline plan repealing bylaw now in effect. Later on in the agenda, we will be presenting the associated outline plan as a report for information. This application proposes amendments intended to rectify discrepancies between the completed Phase 1 and surrounded future phases throughout the Waterford Estates Outline Plan, as well as the Waterford Stage 1 Outline Plan. The requested land use amendments include the following changes: shifting of lot lines and the addition of a 7-meter lane. Due to the nature of the proposed realignment, land use will be impacted, and therefore land use bylaw 020-24 needs to be amended accordingly. The impacted land use has been highlighted in Schedule A of the bylaw itself. The original outline plan was approved in 2018, and since that time, buildings and infrastructure have been constructed along Range Road 284. The City of Chestermere engineering team is working with the City of Calgary under the IDP, and a functional planning study for Range Road 284 will be undertaken in the near future. Our team believes this is sufficient in addressing concerns voiced during the circulation period and included in this report as Attachment B. Implications of approving this file have been included within the report, and administration does not see significant risk in approving these amendments. Administration will provide recommended options following the public hearing. Do you have any questions today?
I have no questions, thank you. I'll move that the official administrator open the public hearing for bylaw 01324, Waterford Estate Land Use Bylaw Amendment at 9:23 a.m. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Calling a first time. Anyone wish to present in support of the application? Calling a second time. Anyone wish to speak in support of the application? Calling a third and final time. Anyone wishing to speak in support of the application? Calling a first time. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Calling a second time. Anyone wish to speak in opposition to the application? Calling a third and final time. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Kallen, has there been any correspondence either for or against the application?
There has not been.
Jack, do you have any closing comments? With that, we can have a motion to close the public hearing, please. I'll move that the official administrator close the public hearing for bylaw 01324, Waterford Estate Land Use Amendment Bylaw at 9:24 a.m. So moved. All in favor? Carried. .1, Jack.
Okay, now I'll be presenting the request for decision on bylaw 014-24. First reading on this file occurred on April 23rd, and a public hearing was scheduled for today. On the notice of public hearing, notification was distributed the exact same as bylaw 13 on our website, hard copy mailed, and with signage posted on site. No written submissions have been received as of noon on May 16th. On the bylaw now, this file proposes amendments to the land use bylaw 020-24 in the Waterford Stage 1 Outline Plan area. Again, it should be noted that this bylaw 014-24 and bylaw 013-24 are focused on the same issue. The Waterford Stage 1 Outline Plan was approved March 2018 following the completion of Phase 1 of Waterford Estates. Lee Mahar took over engineering in subsequent phases. During this time, the misalignment was discovered. A combined site plan highlighting the proposed shifts and how they interlinked has been provided as Attachment A. This application proposes amendments intended to rectify discrepancies affecting the Waterford Stage 1 Outline Plan. The requested land use amendments include the following changes: shifting of lot lines in order to achieve alignment. The impacted land use has been highlighted on Schedule A of the bylaw itself. The original outline plan was approved in 2018, and since this time, buildings and infrastructure have been constructed along Range Road 284. The City of Chestermere engineering team is working with the City of Calgary under the IDP, and a functional planning study for Range Road 284 will be undertaken in the near future. Again, our team believes this will be sufficient in addressing concerns voiced during the circulation period and have been included in this report as Attachment B. Implications of approving this file have been included within the report, and administration does not see significant risk in approving these amendments. Administration will provide recommended options following the public hearing. Do you have any questions on this file?
I have no questions, Jack. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a motion to open the public hearing, please. I'll move that the official administrator open the public hearing for bylaw 01424 Waterford Stage 1 Land Use Amendment at 9:26 a.m. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Calling a first time. Is there anyone here to speak in support of the application? Calling a second time. Anyone here to speak in support of the application? Calling a third and final time. Anyone wishing to speak in support of the application? Calling a first time. Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Calling a second time. Is there anyone here wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Calling a third and final time. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition to the application? Kallen, has there been any correspondence for or against this application?
No, there hasn't.
Could we have a motion, please, to close the public hearing? I'll move that the official administrator close the public hearing for bylaw 01424 Waterford Stage 1 Land Use Amendment at 9:27 a.m. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Moving on, Jack again, please.
Be hearing from me a lot today. Okay, now I'll be presenting a request for decision on bylaw 015-24. First reading on this file occurred on April 23rd, and a public hearing was scheduled for May 28th today. I would like to note that the applicant is with us today should you require clarification on any aspects of their file, and they have prepared a presentation for the hearing as well. On the notice of public hearing, notification was distributed as follows. Online notice was posted to the city website from May 9th to May 28th. Hard copy notice was mailed to adjacent properties within 200 meters of the subject site on May 10th. And signage was approved as per city guidelines and posted on the subject site on May 5th. On the bylaw itself now, the file proposes amendments to the land use bylaw 020-24 in the Chelsea outline plan area. This plan was approved in 2017. The subject lands are generally described as southwest 9-24-28 west of the 4th meridian and represent the southern half of the community of Chelsea. The subject lands are roughly 65 hectares and the remaining developable area of Chelsea. These lands have yet to be subdivided. The proposed amendments are focused on site design improvements, providing additional housing products, and addressing current planning policy and market preferences in the outline plan area. The requested land use amendments include the following changes: road network changes, ephemeral drainage corridor realignment, southern lane correction, municipal reserve adjustment and consolidation, western boundary adjustments, and land use changes, which are as follows: a residential single detached to residential planned lot rear lane and a residential planned lot front drive. This is various throughout the site. Residential single detached to residential semi-detached. This is along Range Road 284. Residential planned lot to residential semi-detached along the central roadway. And commercial to residential multi-unit within the neighborhood node, as well as commercial, live work, and residential multi-unit to a direct control mixed use within the neighborhood node. These amendments impact land use, and therefore land use bylaw 020-24 need to be amended accordingly. The proposed land use amendments are highlighted in Schedule A of bylaw 015-24. The original outline plan was approved in 2017, and since time, buildings and infrastructure have been constructed along the Range Road. City of Chestermere engineering team, so again working with the City of Calgary and Rocky View County under the IDP, and a functional planning study for Range Road 284 will be undertaken in the near future. Again, our team believes this is sufficient in addressing concerns voiced during the circulation period. Comments have been included as attachment A to this report. Onto the proposed planned lot cap methodology update. On February 13th, 2024, bylaw 003-24 came into effect. This bylaw amended the MDP to revise the 35% cap on planned lot development within the single-family housing within an outline plan to 50%. Typically, the city calculates this percentage of planned lots by tallying the total single detached dwellings within an outline plan and determining the amount of percentage of planned lots within that count. Using this criteria, the applicant would be over the 50% threshold. However, the applicant has identified that NDP section 3.4.4.4 lacks clarity on how to calculate the planned lot cap, given it refers to single-family housing as opposed to single detached dwelling as defined within our land use bylaw. Accordingly, the applicant is proposing an update to the planned lot cap calculation methodology to collectively include single detached R1, semi-detached R2, and town/row homes R3 within the single family definition. Administration acknowledges the MDP does not define single family housing, and therefore the applicant's interpretation is valid. Furthermore, it is anticipated that the upcoming MDP rewrite will provide clarification on this topic. This has been provided as information towards this bylaw. Implications of approving this file have been included within the report, and administration does not see significant risk in approving these amendments. Again, administration will provide recommended options following the public hearing. Do you have any questions on this file?
I have no questions. Thank you. We have a motion to open the public hearing. Move that the official administrator open the public hearing for bylaw 01524, Chelsea Land Use Bylaw Amendment at 9:33 a.m. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Calling a first time. Anyone wishing to speak in favor of the application? Is the applicant going to speak? Good morning.
Good morning, Official Administrator. My name is Brady Morris. I'm with Anthem Properties and here to speak in favor of the application. Put together a brief few slides. I think Jack actually, while it loads, did a great job summarizing it, and I want to start by thanking administration. This application's been a long time coming, and really appreciate how administration has worked with us collaboratively to come to arrive at the application you see today. So. Do I control this slides, or I do? And it's probably right here. Thanks. So just a quick summary. I think what I'm going to basically do is put into pictures what Jack just described, and I think it helps provide context for what we're applying here for today. In the gray and black outline box is our community of Chelsea, where the black pin drop is focusing the attention on the south half of our community. And this is a better image for it. We're a little over halfway through the development of our Chelsea community. It's been an interesting journey for Chelsea. It opened its first show homes, I think, a couple of weeks before the pandemic of a few years ago, and it's really kind of ridden waves through then. But it's been a great success story for Anthem. We're very proud of this community, and we're proud about what that community looks and feels like today, but we think there can be improvements here in the home stretch of the community in the last 120 acres. So our application today is focused solely on the south half of this community, and this is just a little more words of what Jack described as well, so I'm not going to dwell on it too far. I think the next map provides a better picture. It focuses on 5 key things. The first one is, if you look at the original outline plan we had approved, we had a live-work node, which is very important to us, and it's important to the community. But the way it was shaped at that time, and candidly, in a little bit of a different world, live-work means a very different thing coming out of the pandemic. And what we did was consolidate a very prescriptive layout and put it into one direct control district, which is highlighted in that gray in the top northeast. It's a direct control. It will be a mixed use, feature residential and employment, just like the prior plan did. It just provides us a lot better flexibility to respond to the market by doing that. So kind of roughly the same area, but better flexibility. We had to realign the natural drainage course, the environmental reserve highlighted by number 2. We did that for a couple of reasons, mainly just efficiencies and layouts and lessons learned from prior development. We took number 3. We took just a general road and network improvements. We had to also correct, similar to the Waterford applications heard earlier. We had a conflict on our south boundary as we move into the lands to the south of us, and planning is underway in that area. We just had to do some modifications to the road and the line work. So. That's what that item is. And we also, what we really took was a better look at the municipal reserve and the park spaces in this community. We had a couple of parks that were smaller and more dispersed, and we consolidated them into something that, we think we can do a better job of, creating parks for the residents, put a little more focus and investment into a couple of parks as opposed to smaller parks scattered throughout the area. Helps improve efficiency, not just for us, but also for the city when it comes to maintenance. And then the last is a minor adjustment of a very kind of a technical amendment related to an abandoned well, and just properly allocating some non-credit area around it to protect those abandoned wellheads. So that's kind of a visual summary of the plan. I think some of the non-visual parts I just want to speak to, and we've come up and talked about this file for a few years now, and now it's more important than ever, is Chestermere needs a better diversity of housing products and a better opportunity for new residents and existing Chestermere residents to buy a house here. It's interesting. We were here for the first reading of this a month ago, and a Chestermere employee took me aside after, and it was important to hear it, and I really appreciated him taking the time. He said, "I really appreciate you bringing this file. I'm able to buy a house, unfortunately, in Dawson's Landing, which is a competitor, but that's great." He was able to buy a house in Dawson's because we're providing a better mix and a better diversity of housing product in Chestermere. And I think that's really important now more than ever, as we all are aware of what cost inflation has done and affordability and what that means. And it's been said a few times at this council, but I want to say it again, it is critical. And we hear concerns about infrastructure not keeping up. And that's related to schools. But what I want to point out again is, we just had a funding announcement in Chestermere, in Chelsea and Dawson. We had a school funding announcement, and that's because growth is occurring on the west side. And we need these rooftops to better support non-residential tax base, commercial, employment, industrial, office, hospitality, you name it. There needs to be a density and a number of households that's going to attract a private business to take the risk to invest in this community. And that's why this application is so important. It's not about density. We have the same amount of density going into this plan. We're redistributing a density into a built form, a house that people want to choose to live in Chestermere. And so there's been a lot of misunderstanding of these applications in the past, and I think with the help of administration, again, which we thank them for, I think we've clarified a lot of that. I think based on the public's feedback, or, I'll say lack of opposition, I'll say, I don't mean to say that because there might be some people who speak after me, but in a larger picture, I think it reflects that, and people understand what growth is doing for Chestermere and is going to bring some of those amenities. So with that, I'll close. I thank you, and I thank administration again, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. I have no questions. Calling a second time. Anyone speaking in support of the application? Calling a third and final time. Anyone speaking in support of the application? Calling a first time. Anyone speaking in opposition to the application? Joanne, please.
Good morning, Mr. Official Administrator. I have some comments, but I would like to, pardon me, say that was an interesting perspective from Anthem, and I appreciate your point of view. I think that it's not the point of view of residents. So that's what I want to talk about today. Thank you for the opportunity to speak about the proposed land use bylaw 015-24, being the Chelsea land use amendment to land use bylaw 020-24. After reviewing the documents again, I feel that the public engagement is required before proceeding with any decisions on this proposed land use bylaw amendment. This bylaw has dramatic implication on our community and the future of Chestermere's identity. The redesignation of commercially designated lands is an ongoing concern for residents. Not only the ability to, or inability to purchase a hammer in our city, it's about having or lack of amenities that have negatively impact residents. So on that, I think we agree. We've been told that there needs to be increased roof count before commercial will come to our community. I would suggest, however, that residents understand and support the immediate need for commercial development in our community to offset the very high residential tax base. Decreasing the commercially designated land is not in the best interests of the community and certainly not what residents want. Purporting that R1, R2, and R3 should all be considered single-family dwellings or residences or whatever the language is really inappropriate and not the intention of the land use bylaw. This is an argument recently heard by the City of Calgary. We witnessed it. They had significant public engagement. Chestermere has not. While it is a valid argument that the definition is unclear, someone very close to me once said, just because we can doesn't mean we should, and I think we really need to adhere to that. This matter should be addressed in the MDP rewrite and not approved until further robust community engagement and consultation is completed. As I said earlier, and with the other bylaw amendment today, the notification circulation by mail to adjacent properties with the 200 meters of the subject site is a site, as I said, is vacant and really was notification to the builders and developers that own the property. As well, the signage again was subject site is irrelevant as it really is on these the very sites that are currently vacant. The ongoing argument that attracting more diverse housing options for our city, responding to market demands, is a position that requires community engagement beyond public hearing. A significant increase in densification, and I will use that word because that's what concerns residents, is a major concern for residents, which has been resounding during the by-election process, and it's really the word on the street. It's one of the top concerns for residents, that we need responsible growth. As stated earlier today, with an increasing density, we have the school issues, infrastructure, roads, that all become key issues. Again, I would propose that it would be appropriate to place a moratorium on any changes impacting our density of our community until such times as the infrastructure is caught up to our dramatic growth. Our children are in schools beyond capacity. Even with any approvals, we're looking at 3 to 5 years out. Our amenities are lacking. Our infrastructure as a whole is significantly lagging. Significant community engagement is required as this fundamentally changed the look and feel of our community. The implication to the community and the changing the dynamic of Chestermere as a community requires this matter to be tabled and revisited by the newly elected council after the by-election. I implore you, Mr. Official Administrator, to please do so and table it to allow the newly elected council the opportunity to engage in a very robust way to truly understand residents' position on this matter. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Joanne. Calling a second time, anyone in opposition to the application? Calling a third and final time, anyone in opposition to the application? Kallen, have we received any correspondence for or against the application?
No, we have not.
Could we have a motion, please, to close the public hearing? I'll move that the official administrator close the public hearing for bylaw 01524 Chelsea Land Use Amendment at 9:44 a.m. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to our 5.5, our final one. Josh, please.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Official Administrator. My name is Josh David, Planning Assistant with Community Growth and Infrastructure. Today I'll be presenting a request for decision on bylaw 016-24. This file proposes amendments to the land use bylaw 020-24 in the Edgewater Crossing Area Structure Plan. Administration is recommending the following motions. The official administrator gives second reading to bylaw 016-24, being amendments to land use bylaw 020-24 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 016-24 as amended. Second, the official administrator gives third reading to bylaw 016-24, being amendments to the land use bylaw 020-24 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 016-24 as amended. For a little bit of background about the site, the city received an application proposing an amendment to land use bylaw 020-24. The proposed amendment pertains to 240187 Rainbow Road, seeking to redesignate the site from urban transition to low-rise multi-unit residential. The site is located in the city's southwest and is approximately 1.4 acres in size. Surrounding land uses include commercial district and residential single detached to the north, direct control and multi-unit residential to the east, urban transition and environmental reserve to the south, and environment and a residential multi-unit and direct control to the west. An undeveloped government road allowance, Range Road 283, abuts the west side of the property, while Rainbow Road abuts its east boundary. The site falls within the Edgewater Crossing Area Structure Plan, which was approved in 2013, and shows the subject site as a high-density residential on its land use plan. The area structure plan defines high-density areas as 3-story apartment-style development. The official administrator passed first reading of bylaw 016-24 on April 23, 2024, and approved administration's scheduling of a public hearing for today. A hard copy notice was sent by mail to the adjacent properties within 200 meters of the subject site on May 14, 2024. As of 12 p.m. on May 16, 2024, no submissions were received from members of the public and no comments were received through the circulation. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you, John.
Thanks.
We have a motion, please, to open the public hearing. I'll move that the official administrator open the public hearing for bylaw 01624 land use, bylaw amendment 240187 Rainbow Road at 9:47 a.m. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Calling a first time. Anyone here to speak in support of the application? Calling a second time. Anyone here to speak in support of the application? Calling a third and final time. Anyone here to speak in support of the application? Calling a first time. Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Calling a second time. Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Calling a third and final time. Anyone here to speak in opposition to the application? Kallen, has there been any correspondence for or against this application?
No, there hasn't.
Could we have the motion, please, to close the public hearing?
Mr. Official Administrator, before you close the public hearing, I just wanted to acknowledge Josh David, our planning assistant. This is his first opportunity to present to council, and he did a remarkable job. I thank you very much, sir. You've got a great future.
Thank you. Thanks, Josh. I'll move that the official administrator close the public hearing for bylaw 01624 land use amendment 240187 Rainbow Road at 9:48 a.m. So moved. All in favor? Carried. So with that, we'll move on to 6.1. Sandy, please.
Good morning, Mr. Official Administrator. I'm Sandy Johal-Watt, Director of Corporate Services. I'm here to present the appointment of auditor for 1538974 Alberta Limited, also known as Utility Company or CUI. Council recommendations. Motion that the official administrator appoint Abadi Professional Corporation to serve as auditor for 1538974 Alberta Limited until the dissolution of the utility company. Subject background. According to Section 281 of the Municipal Government Act, each council must appoint one or more auditors for the municipality. In 2022, the utility company terminated the contract with KPMG and invited Abadi Professional Corporation to serve as the auditor for 1538974 Alberta Limited. Since their cost is significantly lower than that of KPMG, the selection process falls under the category of invitational competition. Despite inviting other firms, no responses were received to date. Abadi Professional Corporation successfully completed the 1538974 Alberta Limited audit in 2022 and 2023. For continuity purposes, it would be beneficial for 1538974 Alberta Limited to continue the engagement with Abadi Professional Corporation in its final year of operation. Abadi Professional Corporation has been operating for over 15 years, specializing in private and non-profit audits in Alberta in accordance with Canadian auditing standards. They have effectively conducted audits for a diverse clientele, including Alberta schools, private corporations across various sectors, and social and professional nonprofit organizations. Their primary objective is to ensure accurate representation of their clients' financial positions in their financial statements while strictly adhering to auditing standards. Risk: failure to comply with the Municipal Government Act MGA requirements. Related policies, bylaws, and legislation, Section 281 of the Municipal Government Act and Procurement Policy 652. Recommended options: motion that the official administrator appoint Abadi Professional Corporation to serve as auditor for 1538974 Alberta Limited until dissolution of the utility company. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. I have no questions. My compliments to administration for having council appoint the auditor this time for him, because it was not done previously. It should have been done.
Thank you.
If I could have the motion, please. I'll move that the official administrator appoint Abadi as professional corporation to serve as the auditor for 1538974 Alberta Limited until the dissolution of the utility company. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, Sandy.
Next, Mr. Official Administrator, I'd like to introduce Bob from Accurate Assessment. He is going to be presenting on behalf of the assessor.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Official Administrator. My name is Bob Dodlin. I'm with Accurate Assessment Group. We are the contracted property assessment services corporation that provide assessment services to the city of Chestermere. Today I'll be doing a presentation that will be in two parts. The first part will be an introduction to Accurate Assessment Group for those who may not know who we are and what we've done, even though we've been around for quite a few years now. The second part will be into the highlights of the municipality's assessment itself. I understand that this presentation will be abbreviated somewhat, especially on the front end, just because of the course of the busyness of the day. Accurate Assessment Group was founded in 1997, and we provide assessment services to many municipalities across Alberta, of which the thematic there on the slideshow does show all over the province, essentially. Our main office is located out of Sherwood Park, but we have two sub-offices as well that we work from. And again, Chestermere is one of the areas that we do conduct assessment services as far south as, and then as far north as, the town of High Level. We provide services for approximately 26 rural municipalities, 8 cities, 7 towns, and 8 Métis settlements. It is our hope that we are the municipality's trusted advisor. We believe that we can be through our superb team depth, our attention to communication, and our sound data integrity. We have many people on staff that are experts in specifics of assessment. The 3 people, myself included, that are involved directly with the City of Chestermere's assessment on a day-to-day basis is myself, Jesse Nelson, and Corey Allen. We do have others that we draw upon on occasion in the event that there is specific expert knowledge needed. Property assessments overview. Property assessment is the process of assigning a dollar value to property for taxation purposes. Essentially, it's assessed value multiplied by mill rate. That equals the property tax. With regards to assessment legislation, the Municipal Government Act governs how property is assessed and is conducted. Part 9, starting at Section 284. There are 3 main supporting regulations in addition to the MGA, and those listed there. Assessment valuation. There are four main classes of assessment: residential, non-residential, farmland, and designated industrial property. The valuation standards for each align in the table. Residential and non-residential is essentially market value. Farmland, designated industrial property uses a regulated valuation standard. So it is important to understand that probably 98%, 99% of the property in the city of Chestermere is assessed using the market value approach. Market value means the amount that a property might be expected to realize if sold on the open market by a willing seller to a willing buyer. There are three approaches to value. There's the cost approach, which lends itself to unique properties, special purpose properties. So there's the direct sales approach, which lends itself to residential properties. And then there's the income approach, which lends itself best to office space, retail space, warehouse space, etc. Mass appraisal. This means the process of preparing assessments for a group of properties using standard methods and common data and allowing for statistical testing. It would be very costly for a municipality to conduct assessments by way of site-specific appraisals. Therefore, mass appraisal is used throughout Alberta to complete the assessment process. Every property is reassessed annually. This does not mean that it's reinspected annually. However, it is reevaluated annually according to the market. Property inspections may include properties that incur a development permit, incomplete properties in the previous year, and as well our designated reinspection area. And then finally, on the front end of the presentation, assessment inquiries. If a property owner has an inquiry, we hope that they contact the municipality or call us or attend an open house to speak with us. We also hope that they provide all requested information to us to ensure that our data is correct and to maintain the right of complaint. If after all that is done, the information is gathered and reviewed, the ratepayer, property owner, is unsatisfied with the assessment, they can lodge a formal assessment complaint. Moving into the meat and potatoes of the year-over-year assessment for the city of Chestermere. It was quite a remarkable year. Residential assessment increased by approximately 22%. So it's approaching $6 billion in residential assessment, and the gain year over year was almost $1.1 billion. Non-residential assessment increased by 19% year over year. Of course, it's a much smaller ratio of the total assessment base, but still significant, approximately $37 million increase. Linear assessment increased by 7%. Farmland assessment decreased by 9%. And then exempt assessment did decrease by approximately 15%. So an overall change in total assessment base of 20%. That's a 20% gain year over year. This graph here displays the previous slide, only gives you a visual and a trending visual. We can see since 2019 what has happened, what has occurred with residential assessment in the city. This is another graphic on the total assessment base. So the last 3 years, or last 2 years, have been quite significant change. This table displays how the taxable assessment change has occurred and where the distribution is. And the important takeaway here is 79% of the properties, taxable properties in the city, will incur anywhere from a 1 to 25% increase in their assessment. This table is similar, but it is different. Instead of a percent change, it's dollar change. So it's just another way of looking at this particular topic. And approximately 84% of the taxable properties in the city will incur anywhere from a $25,000 increase to, well, a $1 million increase. Now, the parts that are within the range of 100,000 to 1 million, well, those are going to be, much of that, majority of that is going to be new builds. This table here is more of an, I guess it visualizes an economic trend. You can see dating back 5 years. The new accounts at that time were right around 400, then 200 in 2020, 223, and then from there we've just gone quite substantially forward, 425, 738, and 720. Development permits, another incredible trend, if you will, approaching 2,000 development permits in 2023. So looking at the areas of assessment when it comes to residential, I've broken it into 4 specific areas. You've got your standard residential interior situation, then we've got lakefront, we've got the fringe area, and then we've got condominium situations. With standard residential, minimal change to land year over year. However, the overall improved, meaning the lots that have houses on them, typical single-family dwellings, anywhere from 9 to 16% increase year over year. With regards to lakefront property, land did increase year over year according to sales, and then the overall or the improved situations also increased anywhere from 7 to 15%. As far as fringe properties go, land increased 4 to 11%, and overall improved 10 to 18% increase. And then when we go to residential condominium situations, anywhere from 11 to 19% increase in values year over year. This is all substantiated by sales. This table focuses on residential change. We know, according to the previous slide, that there was a 22% increase, or almost $1.1 billion increase in residential assessment. This is broken out into 2 situations or 2 facets. Part of that is going to be new construction, and part of that is going to be market change. So 9.1% of that 22% is accounted for by new construction. That's astounding. And then residential inflation or market change, approximately 13.1%. Similar table, except focusing on non-residential. We've got approximately 7% increase due to new construction, and approximately a 10% increase due to market inflation. Every year we do a reinspection. A geographical area is designated for reinspection. This is a schedule that we've been doing since 2011. In 2023, we focused on the green area, which it's on both sides of the highway there, as you can see. And then for 2024, we're focused on the blue area. Moving forward, before I get into the bullets, which many of these bullets are past tense now due to the date of this presentation, I will say this. Already, we have approximately 900 new accounts, and we're in May right now. So this will, from an account perspective, a new account perspective, will probably be beating last year's situation. We may have already done that by the looks of it. On a moving forward basis, looking at or predicting where the market is going, the 2023 assessment was based on a valuation date of July 1st, 2023. So what I've done is I have analyzed the sales that have occurred since July up until the end of April. And already it appears that the sales are showing a 7 to 9% increase in market value since July of last year for single-family dwellings. Duplexes and row houses are similar. In fact, maybe even a little more aggressive. There are some areas that may be as high as possibly 15%, maybe even a little bit higher than that. And then the condominium situations, again, are in a positive trend, anywhere from 11 to 13% increase in value since last July. So going into the bullets, right now we're fielding calls. We're pretty much wrapped up with that, but we do take calls and inquiries all year long, and will conduct any necessary inspections that are requested by property owners. We typically do that between March and May, but again, we will do that throughout the year. We'll be preparing for our request for information letters to be mailed as of the end of June. And then in July, typically, and August, we will reinspect the reinspection scheduled area, which is, like I said, the blue part of that map. And then later in the fall, come anywhere from September through December, we will be inspecting all of the new permits, preparing for the supplementary assessment that is to come, and then as well as investigating and inspecting any properties that were incomplete as of the end of 2023. That concludes my presentation. If there are any questions, I'm open to them. Otherwise,
Thank you. I have no question. Mr. Vincent, what did you want to do with this presentation? There's no RFD in the agenda.
I noticed that, Mr. Official Administrator, our oversight, my apologies. I'd ask the Manager of Legislative Services to put up the motion to accept the presentation as information. Thank you.
So is the contract currently in place for Accurate, or does it have to be renewed?
It's currently in place, Mr. Official Administrator.
And how long does it go for?
That I'm not aware of at this time.
Okay.
I'm uncertain, Mr. Administrator. I believe there is maybe a year left on it, but I'm uncertain.
So I'll leave that in your hands, Mr. Vincent. Thanks. If we can
Thank
have a
you,
motion, please.
Thank you for the privilege of your time.
Thank you. I'll move that the official administrator accept the Chestermere 2023 assessment presentation as information. So moved. All in favor? Carried.
Yeah.
Sandy, I believe you have another one.
Good morning again, Mr. Official Administrator. I am here to present the RFD for electricity pricing proposal. Council recommendations. Motion that the official administrator authorize Energy Associates International to release the request for proposal RFP to market for the city's forward electricity supply starting January 1st, 2027. Subject background. The City of Chestermere has retained Energy Associates, Inc. as a management consultant to assist in the evaluation of the request for proposal to bid on the competitive price for electricity supply from a responder who is in good financial standing. Energy Associates has observed forward wholesale electricity prices for the calendar year 2027 to 2029 drop to record lows since government announcements in March. Based on their guidance, it is an opportunistic time to purchase a forward contract. Risk: missing the opportunity to get competitive electricity pricing. Recommended options. Motion that the official administrator authorize Energy Associates International to release the request for proposal RFP to market for the city's forward electricity supply starting January 1st, 2027. And I'd also like to introduce staff from Energy Associates International are here with a short presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good. Thank you for having us. My name is Michelle. This is my colleague Jay. We're with Energy Associates International. We've been working with the City of Chestermere for 10 years now, helping with your electricity and natural gas supply requirements. Today, we would like to share a little bit of background information on the energy market supply chain, review the current electricity contracts that we have in place for the city and specifically talk about what is happening in Alberta's marketplace and why we think there is an opportunistic time to secure a future electricity supply contract for the city of Chestermere, and specifically the request for a decision to move ahead with a competitive, transparent RFP to invite multiple suppliers to be able to bid on your electricity supply requirements starting January 1, 2027. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Jay.
Thank you very much. So this slide is interesting. It tells you the supply chain between the wholesale markets and the customer. And you'll see as the customers all the way to the left, and you just keep going all the way to the right, you see a whole bunch of picture icons showing people trading electricity on a computer. This is what we call a wholesale forward market. Unlike the diagram you see at the very bottom that shows a transmission line and a flame, that's what we call a spot market. What is a spot market? Spot market is like going to a gas station and filling up gas at the pump. Whatever price you pay at the pump is what you pay. You can't go to the gas attendant at Costco and say, what is the price of gas going to be tomorrow? Because there's no market until you come tomorrow, right? That's the spot price. Now, the city of
Could you speak a little closer to the mic, please?
Okay.
We're broadcasting the meeting.
Okay, the city of Chestermere has an option to buy electricity and natural gas from the spot market too, but the prices changes every day. And sometimes it's very high and sometimes it's normal. Now, you can't budget for that. So the alternative to the municipalities that we serve is to go into a market where you can actually look at what is the price for power trading today for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sometimes 6 years into the future. Why does that market exist? This is called the wholesale forward trading market on the far right. That is a market where generators will trade among themselves, including large banks, generators, and they will trade into the future where there's a value for power established in the future, and it's even not produced as yet. Like 2029 is trading at the price that it's not even produced. But that market exists because they need to establish contracts in the long term. So when they secure these contracts, they can take these contracts to the bank, and these contracts are bankable, and they can borrow money against it to build new generation. That's why the market exists. So the city of Chestermere and all the munis we serve takes advantage of that market by proactively going into the market, and when these generators buy low to eventually sell high in the spot market, the city takes advantage of those low prices, but instead of selling it back in the spot market, the city just uses it for its own consumption. That's as simple as that. So how does this all work out for the city over the years? So I'll go to the next slide. You can go. This slide shows the existing 2 contracts that are in place right now for the city. One just expired in December 31st. The other one just started in January 1, 2024. If you look at the last contract, 2021 to 2023, the city outperformed the spot market by $1.3 million. And you look at the existing contract from 2024 to 2026, if the city chose like, oh, we don't want to be in this contract anymore and we want to liquidate the contract, you can actually sell that contract back into the market and still make $200,000. But you don't want to do that because you'll be subject to the spot market, right? All right. Next one. Why are we doing this today? Well, the city has always been proactively looking into the forward market to take advantage of opportunities to buy when the prices are low. And this opportunity came about because of the recent government announcement, the provincial government announcement, putting some limits on what these generators can make in the spot market. The spot market has been extremely volatile since COVID for a variety of reasons, primarily because Alberta, unlike any province or state in North America, is going through 2 main things: electrification and decarbonization. Electrification is because the growth that we're expecting in Alberta is unprecedented, and also we're having a lot more electrical loads coming in through EV charging, new homes being built and whatnot. At the same time, this province was built on coal, and we still have coal. This is the last year of coal. And as we transition away from coal, we're going to be more dependent on natural gas. As you see in on the table on your far left, on the very top, natural gas makes up about close to 60% of the supply mix in Alberta. And that's dispatchable. You can't dispatch a windmill. You can't dispatch a solar facility, right? You can't tell the wind to blow, the solar windmill to blow. So when you look at the dispatchable generation, which keeps the lights on in Alberta every day, we have highlighted CCGT, combined cycle gas turbine. That's the most efficient natural gas fired generator in the province. And at the table at the bottom, we have the cost of generating electricity from the most efficient unit, which is CCGT in blue, year over year, okay? And that includes fixed variable costs and the weighted average cost of capital and carbon emissions. The reality that we face between now to 2030 is we have carbon emissions from Ottawa and from Alberta. Carbon emissions is not something new for Albertans. The carbon emissions has been around since the Stelmach years. The only difference is the rate has gone up. That's all, right? So looking at all of this, what has changed is, in the past, generators will trade into the future and say, well, we want to make X amount of dollars in the future, and two generators will cut a deal in the future, and they'll set a price. And that price usually will reflect costs plus a huge margin. Because of the government regulation announcement that happened about a month and a half ago, the government has come up with some with regulations to limit what a generator can dispatch in the marketplace, i.e. putting a cap. And now the generators are saying, okay, we can make $500, $600, $700, $800, $900, $1,000 a megawatt hour for any hour. We are now left with a $125 cap on each hour. So the generators now have taken a very different approach. They want to be able to hedge and fix their revenues in the future. And that's why they've discounted the market, which I'm going to show you in the next slide. So the generators now are trying to fix their revenues. The city is trying to fix its costs. The generators are trying to fix its revenues into the future. Again, why they want to do that? Because they want to insulate themselves from margin risk. The generators now are being limited to how much they can make. They want to offset that risk to the market. And this is why right now the prices for power trading in the market right now are close to what a generator actually has to produce in the future. And this is the plan that the strategy that we've worked with the city in saying, look, this is what it costs for a generator to run in Alberta in 2027, 28, and 29, which is identified as the LCOE. The average there is 61.18. We can go into the market right now and take advantage of those prices in the long term, not so that we can secure them and sell in the market and make a profit. We just need to consume those contracts at a far lower price than what we can buy from the spot market. As you can see, prior to the announcement from the government, if you look at the third column there, the prices are at 79, 79, and 68. Look how much they have come off. And that's because the generators have shifted their strategy, that they want to be able to hedge their revenues into the future by discounting the market. So they can actually go into the future and start borrowing money against these contracts. They're very picky. Not anyone can go on and do that. The generators, we serve large clients like West Edmonton Mall, and they're like 50 times the size of the city of Chestermere. However, West Edmonton Mall, for example, can't go and buy 2029 and 2030 because they don't have the credit. But the municipalities can do that because they're a municipality, right? So you're going to be around, and they're able to do, these suppliers are prepared to actually do business with the city because you're a government. And that's our recommendation, is to go out to the market and take advantage of these prices because they are available to us right now. And the window that we're faced right now is the generators and the province are in negotiations with the new regulations, and those discussions and negotiations are supposed to be wrapping up by the end of June, and we want to take advantage of this opportunity before those negotiations conclude.
So in summary, our recommendation, our request is to proactively evaluate a forward fixed electricity supply contract for the city of Chestermere and your facilities, your municipal and utility facilities, and complete the due diligence process through a competitive RFP before the end of June. Thank you.
One question, Mr. Vincent, are we engaging with any other communities to try and bring our volumes up to get a better price?
The answer, Mr. Official
Just the city on
Administrator.
its own?
No, we're proceeding on our own.
Have we considered including any other municipalities in the future?
Yes, Mr. Official Administrator, that is something that we can evaluate
Okay,
going forward.
thank you. No further questions. Can we have the motion, please? I'll move that the official administrator authorize Energy Associates International to release the request for proposals RFP to market for the city's future electricity supply starting January 1st, 2027. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. With that, we're going to take a 5-minute recess, and we'll be back here in 5 minutes. Thank you. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you for your patience. We're now going to deal with 7.A. Terrence is going to speak to it, and he's not here. Liz, are you prepared to handle that one?
Can we move Jack's item first? I'm guessing he might just be in the boys' room and we'll be back.
Hey, Jack, if we can deal with
Yeah, for sure. I could do 13 and
point B.
14. Yeah, the next two are tied together. So
Yep.
for sure. All right, so back again. Today I'll be presenting the report for the Waterford Estates Outline Plan amendments. This file is directly tied to the bylaw 013-24, which was presented earlier in this agenda. It will be seeking amendments to the Waterford Estates Outline Plan. See Attachment A for a redlined version highlighting these changes. The proposed amendments focus on rectifying the discrepancies between the Waterford Estates Outline Plan and the Waterford Stage 1 Outline Plan, as highlighted in Attachment B. First reading on this file occurred on April 23rd, and information was provided highlighting the proposed amendments to the outline plan you are seeing today. On the notice of public hearing, notification was distributed in tandem with the land use amendments on our city website, hard copy mailed, and with signage posted on site, and no comments were received. This file is seeking amendments to the Waterford Estates Outline Plan. The proposed amendments focus on rectifying the discrepancies between the outline plans, and the requested amendments include the following changes: shifting lot lines, addition of a 7-meter lane, as well as administrative changes including road name changes, reconfiguration of 2 non-credit MR parcels, updated area calculations, and unit per acre updates, as well as underground main updates. Again, these can be seen as highlighted in Attachment A, the redlined version of the plan. The City of Chestermere engineering team is working with the City of Calgary under the IDP. A functional planning study of Range Road 284 will be undertaken in the near future. Our team believes this is sufficient in addressing concerns voiced during circulation period, and these comments are included in the report as Attachment C. Implications of approving this file have been included with the report, and administration does not see significant risk in approving these amendments. Administration recommends the following motions on this file: that the official administrator rescind motion 240514-52, and that the official administrator approve the revised Waterford Estates Outline Plan dated May 2024. Do you have any questions on this file?
Yes, I do, Jack.
Yeah.
I'd like to see motion 52, if we could, so we know what we are rescinding, if we could, please.
For sure.
And also, this is more a question to Mr. Vincent. I think we eliminated the need for outline plans. And why are we approving a revised outline plan?
Mr. Official Administrator, in terms of procedure, we have decoupled the outline plan from being adopted by law, but there still is a desire and a need to approve the outline plan by resolution. So what we're proposing is the adoption of the Waterford Estates Outline Plan by resolution as opposed by bylaw.
Thank you for the clarification for the public. Thank you. So, and Kallen, when we put the first motion up, please. Thanks, Jack. That's all the questions I have on that one.
No worries.
You can stay there because you're going to be dealing with the
Yeah, I'll
next
be
one.
right back.
I'd like to include that motion 52 right in this. You could just say as follows and then detail it in there so it's clear what it is. Cut and paste and pull it in if you would, please. Move that the official administrator rescind motion 240514-52 as follows. Moved by official administrator Doug Lagore, motion that council administrator approve the Webster outline plan as may be amended. Carried, and so moved. All in favor? Carried. So that motion is now rescinded. And move that the official administrator approve the revised Waterford Estate outline plan dated May 2024. So moved. All in favor? Carried. And if we could move on to the next one, please.
For sure. So this is the second half of that file. Today I'll be presenting the report for the Waterford Stage 1 Outline Plan Amendments. This file, directly tied to Bylaw 014-24, presented earlier, is seeking amendments to the Waterford Stage 1 Outline Plan. Please see Attachment A red-lined version highlighting the changes to the plan. The proposed amendments focus on rectifying the discrepancies between the Waterford Stage 1 Outline Plan and the Waterford Estates Outline Plan, as highlighted in Attachment B. First reading for this file occurred on April 23rd, and information was provided highlighting the proposed amendments you are seeing today. On the notice for public hearing, notification was distributed in tandem with the land use amendments on our website, hard copy mailed, and with signage posted on site. No comments were received. The requested outline plan amendments include the following changes: shifting of lot lines to achieve alignment, road name changes, removal of the protective services site, updated area calculations, and updated unit per acre density updates. The City of Chestermere engineering team, again working with City Calgary under the IDP, functional planning study, we believe this is sufficient to address concerns voiced during circulation period. Attachment C shows these comments. Implications of approving this file have been included within the report, and administration does not see significant risk in approving these amendments. Administration recommends the following motions on this file. Again, that the official administrator rescind motion 240514-50, and that the official administrator approve the revised Waterford Stage 1 Outline Plan dated May 2024. Do you have any questions on this file?
I have no questions. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.
And if we could have the first motion, please. Move that the official administrator rescind motion 240514-50 as follows. Moved by official administrator Doug Lagore. Motion that official administrator approve the Dawson Landing outline plan as may be amended. Carried. So moved. All in favor? Carried. So that motion is now rescinded. If we could have the second one, please. Move that the official administrator move the revised watershed stage 1 outline plan dated May 2024. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Now we'll go back and deal with 8.1 as 7C, I guess now. Terrence, please.
Apologies for my absence, Mr. Official Administrator. I am presenting a request for a report for information to outline how proposed amendments to the Dawson's Landing Outline Plan will support the land use amendments described earlier this morning in Bylaw 1224. Administration is recommending the following motions: that the official administrator rescind motion 240514-49, and that the official administrator approve the revised Dawson's Landing Outline Plan dated May 2024. The proposed amendments relate to two sites in the Dawson's Landing Outline Plan area. A red-lined version of the outline plan has been included as Attachment A, and the amendments in this report will support the changes per Bylaw 1224 as proposed. The original Dawson's Landing Outline Plan was prepared by B&A Planning Group for West Creek developments and approved in April 2018. Just a quick summary. Site 1 is currently designated Direct Control, DCR-2C District. The intent is to convert this site to a public park space. A more appropriate land use designation to facilitate this type of use is Public Services, PS District. Site 2 is presently designated as Residential Single Detached, R1, and Direct Control, DCR-2C District. The areas currently designated R1 is to be redesignated to Residential Planned Lot Front Drive and Residential Planned Lot Rear Lane. The lands designated DCR-2C is proposed for redesignation to Multi-Unit R3 District. The additional planned lots is below the MDP requirement of 50% for when I refer to that as the planned lot development cap. The proposed outline plan amendments include the following changes. Updated figures reflecting the proposed land uses on both sites, complete with amended hatching and annotations. Updated summary of the land use table. Updated proposed residential land use table. Textual changes in the body of the document to ensure consistency with the amendments to the updated figures and tables. This amended outline plan was circulated in tandem with the land use application. Administration sees no implications should this outline plan be amended. Thank you for my thank you, Mr. Official Administrator. I can answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Terrence. I have no questions. Could we have the first motion, please? Move that the official administrator rescind motion 240514-49 as follows. Moved by official administrator Doug Lagore. Motion that official administrator approve the Bridgeport outline plan as may have been amended. Is carried. Now, is that correct when it refers to Bridgeport?
No, it should be the Dawson's Landing outline plan.
So I think you have the wrong one. We've already dealt with that one. Kallen, we've already rescinded that one in Jack's presentation. Is that the one you want?
No.
Nope.
I don't think so.
It's the Dawson's Landing outline
It's a
plan.
52.
No, that's Webster.
Sorry, Dawson.
Dawson Landing.
50 we've already done under Jack's.
Sorry, official administrator. I believe one of my previous motions, it should be a 53. I think that's my error.
Let's fix this one first and go back to the other one.
So you just want to do. Official administrator, since we already did 50 with Jack's presentation, could we just do 53 for this one instead of rescinding that motion?
That would be my suggestion, Mr. Vincent, that we deal with 53 now because it's too late to go back and change what we've already rescinded.
Procedurally, you can go back, rescind that motion, correct it, let's adopt it correctly.
Okay,
Procedurally, there's no mistakes and no misunderstanding.
okay, let's do that then.
So let's finish off with this one, with the correct one, and then we'll go back, amend the previous one by rescinding your most current motion and then readopting it with the correct information.
I apologize here for the confusion.
No, you rescind the motion that he passed today, that rescinded the previous motion, and then you adopt a new motion.
Yes, should we rescind that first? Is this a redundant motion?
That's one you need, Terrence, right? That's not the right one we're looking for.
Could I request a 2-minute recess so we can figure this out?
Yes, we can. Thank you. We'll take a 5-minute recess, please. Welcome back, everyone. I think we can clarify now. Kallen, are you ready to proceed? This is the motion that I've already passed. So we're going to rescind that, are we?
Apologies, no. We're rescinding the motion for Waterford Estate first, and then repeating the rescind motion with the proper motion numbers, and then we'll move on to Waterford Stage 1 motion, and then we'll restate the motion, and then move on to Chelsea.
Okay. So move that the official administrator rescind the motion number to follow. Motion that the official administrator rescind motion 240514-53 as follow. Motion that the official administrator approve the Waterford Estate Southwest Outline Plan as may have been amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. I'll move that the official administrator rescind motion 240514-53 as follows. Motion that the official administrator approve the Waterford Estate Southwest Outline Plan as may have been amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. I'll move that the official administrator rescind the motion number to follow. Motion that the official administrator rescind motion 240514-51 as follows. Move that the official administrator approve the Waterford Shed Stage 1 Outline Plan as may have been amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Move that the official administrator rescind motion number 240514-51 as follows. Motion that the official administrator approve the Watershed Stage 1 Outline Plan as may have been amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Motion that the official administrator rescind motion 240514-48. Motion that the official administrator approve the Chelsea Outline Plan as may have been amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried.
There hasn't been a presentation on the Chelsea one yet, so you just jumped ahead.
Yes, we did. This is an embarrassment. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Now that we're sorted, today I'll be presenting the report for the Chelsea Outline Plan amendments. This file is directly tied to bylaw 015-24, which was presented earlier in the agenda, and is seeking amendments to the Chelsea Outline Plan. See attachment A for a redlined version of the highlighted changes in this plan. First reading on this file occurred on April 23rd, and information was provided highlighting the proposed amendments you are seeing today. On the notice of public hearing, notification was distributed in tandem with the land use amendments on our website, hard copy mailed, and with signage posted on site, and no comments have been received thus far. The requested outline plan amendments include the following changes: road network changes, neighborhood node changes, ephemeral drainage corridor realignment, southern lane correction, and municipal reserve consolidation, western boundary adjustments, abandoned wellhead adjustments, and land use changes as presented earlier. The City of Chestermere engineering team, again working with the City of Calgary and Rocky View County under the IDP, are undertaking a functional planning study for Range Road 284 and this will be undertaken in the near future. Our team believes this is sufficient in addressing concerns voiced during the circulation period. Attached to this report's comments are attachment B. As noted during bylaw 015-24 presented earlier, the applicant has proposed an update to the planned lot cap methodology. The amendments to the outline plan will be consistent with that proposal. Implications of approving this file have been included within the report, and administration does not see significant risk in approving these amendments. Administration recommends the following motions on this file. The official administrator rescind motion 240514-48, and the official administrator approve the revised Chelsea outline plan dated May 2024. Do you have any questions on this file?
No. Move that the official administrator rescind motion 240514-48. Motion that the official administrator approve the Chelsea plan as may have been amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Move that the official administrator approve the revised Chelsea outline plan dated May 2024. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Now, does that conclude 7A, B, C, and D? So we can move on to the bylaws then. 7.1.
Hello again, Mr. Official Administrator. After hearing comments during the public hearing, administration has nothing further to add and recommends the following motions. Motion 1, the official administrator gives second reading to bylaw 1224, being amendments to the land use bylaw 20-24 as amended and as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 1224. Second motion, the official administrator gives third reading to bylaw 1224, being amendments to the land use bylaw 20-24 as amended and as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 1224. Thank you.
Thank you, Terrence. I have no questions.
Thank you.
So just prior to presenting the second reading, I'd just like to make a few comments to our presenter that was in opposition to this bylaw. I don't know that the change in density is sufficient to cause any concern. And with all due respect, I don't know that this would be similar to what Calgary did with their blanket rezoning there. It's much different. And we have had no input, despite the opportunity for public, if they are concerned. There was ample opportunity because it was advertised on the website, etc. Liz, I don't know if you want to add anything further, but I see no significant impact from this rezoning.
I concur with your analysis based on everything you've stated. I believe that there's a minor impact to the community and do recommend continuing to proceed with this.
Mr. Official Administrator, if I might add one comment, and one of the comments the presenter made, which I take to heart, is any time that we're looking at establishing additional commercial zoning to afford new development, one of the things the administration recognizes that the ideal situation for a municipality is an 80-20 split between residential and non-residential. Those are the targets, and that's the targets we're working for. Just to inform the public, as part of the new municipal development plan process, there is going to be a requirement that a minimum of 20% commercial development be incorporated in each of those developments to ensure that we can reach that ideal target of an 80-20% split. Now, this won't happen instantaneously, but as a longer-term strategy, we'll be able to achieve that viability and long-term sustainability for the municipality through those particular strategic measures and steps. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Vincent, we are getting much closer to having a site for the new school, are we not?
That is correct. We hope to have an announcement in June, but I don't want to jinx anything, so I'll knock on wood.
Okay. And I don't know that the city is in a position to put development on hold, nor was that suggested either, that we put development on hold until we get a school. I think we need to continue with development and certainly put a variety of options out there so there's more affordability for residents. So with that, I'll move that the official administrator give second reading to bylaw number 012-24 being amendments to land use amendment bylaw 02024 as amended and as shown on Schedule A of bylaw number 01224 as amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Move that the official administrator give third and final reading to bylaw number 012-24 being amendments to the land use bylaw number 02024 as amended and as shown on Schedule A of bylaw number 012-24 as amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to Waterford, please.
Okay, so this is towards bylaw 013-24. After hearing no comments during the public hearing, administration has no further comments to add and will recommend the following motions. The official administrator give second reading to bylaw 013-24, being amendments to the land use bylaw 020-24 as amended, and as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 013-24 as amended. As well, the second motion, the official administrator give third reading to bylaw 013-24, being amendments to the land use bylaw 020-24 as amended, and as shown as Schedule A and bylaw 013-24 as amended. Do you have any further questions on this file?
I have no further questions. If we could have the motion, please. Move that the official administrator give second reading to bylaw 013-24, being amendments to land use bylaw 020-10 as amended, and as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 013-24 as amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Move that the official administrator give third and final reading to bylaw number 013-24, being amendments to bylaw number 02024 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 01324 as amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Next bylaw, please.
Right, so this is towards bylaw 014-24. After hearing no comments during the public hearing towards this file, administration has no further comments to add and will recommend the following motions. First, that the official administrator give second reading to bylaw 014-24, being amendments to the land use bylaw 020-24 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 014-24 as amended. And a second motion, that the official administrator give third reading to bylaw 014-24, being amendments to the land use bylaw 020-24 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 014-24 as amended. Do you have any further questions on this file?
I have no further questions. Could we have the motions, please? I'll move that the official administrator give second reading to bylaw 01424, being amendments to bylaw 02024 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 01424 as amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Move that the official administrator give third and final reading to bylaw number 01424, being amendments to bylaw number 020-24 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 014-24 as amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Mr. Vincent, the door to the council chambers is locked, so it's not open to the public. They have to knock to get in. Can someone please have that door unlocked or propped open, please? We can move on, please. Next bylaw.
This is towards bylaw 015-24. After hearing comments from the public, administration does have a few comments to add. As Mr. Vincent said earlier, the city is conscious of that 80-20 split from residential and employment lands. It is our understanding that in that neighborhood node, that DC mixed use, that we will be retaining those employment lands. So we are not losing commercial opportunities. There will still be that in that area. I just wanted to highlight that. Secondly, I wanted to highlight a few policies from our municipal development plan, concerns from the public. Hopefully these address them. The application aligns with several policies of the city's municipal development plan. In particular, sections 2.1.3.3, as well as section 3.3.3.2.3, section 3.4.2.1, and section 3.4.2.3. These are policies that support diversity of housing options in our community, along with responding to the changing needs of housing in the market. So I believe that those changes are consistent with the applicant's proposal. That being said, administration will recommend the following motions. The official administrator give second reading to bylaw 015-24, being amendments to the land use bylaw 020-24 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 015-24 as amended. And second, that the official administrator give third reading to bylaw 015-24, being amendments to the land use bylaw 020-24 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 015-24 as amended. Do you have any further questions on this file?
No further questions. Move that the official administrator give second reading to bylaw 015-24, being amendments to land use bylaw number 020-24 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 015-24 as amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Move that the official administrator give third and final reading to bylaw 015-24, being amendments to land use bylaw number 020-24 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw number 015-24 as amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Moving on to bylaw 016. Josh, please.
Hello again. So after the public hearing for bylaw 016-24, administration is recommending the following motions. That the official administrator give second reading to bylaw 016-24, being amendments to land use bylaw 020-24 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 016-24 as amended. And that the official administrator give third reading to bylaw 016-24, being amendments to the land use bylaw 020-24 as amended, and as shown as Schedule A of bylaw 016-24 as amended. Is there any questions for these ones?
Thank you, Josh. I have no questions.
Thank you.
Could we have the motion, please? Move that the official administrator give second reading to bylaw 01624, being amendments to the land use bylaw number 020-24 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaws number 01624 as amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Move that the official administrator give third and final reading to bylaw number 01624, being amendments to land use bylaw number 020-24 as amended, as shown on Schedule A of bylaw 01624 as amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Now we can move on to the water bylaw. Ryan, please.
Good morning, Chief Administrator. I'm here to ask for a motion that the council give second reading to the bylaw number 018-24, being an amendment to the section of 35 of the cross connections of Schedule A, terms and conditions of the water services as part of the City of Chestermere Water Bylaw 025-13. And also to give a motion that the council give third reading to the bylaw 018-24, being amended to the section 35 cross connection of Schedule A, terms and conditions of the water services as part of the City of Chestermere Water Bylaw 025-13.
No questions. Could we have the motion, please? Move that the official administrator, give second reading to bylaw number 01824, be an amendment to section 35, cross connections of Schedule A, terms and conditions of water services as part of the City of Chestermere Water Bylaw number 02513. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Move that the official administrator give third and final reading to bylaw number 018-24, being an amendment to section 35, cross connections of Schedule A, terms and conditions of water services as part of the City of Chestermere Water Bylaw number 025-13. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Mr. Vincent, you're next. Municipal report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Official Administrator. On May 10th of 2024, the Honorable Rick McIver released the Deloitte Inc. City of Chestermere Municipal Inspection Report. In correspondence to the Official Administrator on the same date, the Minister attached Ministerial Order Number MSD 033/24. The first directive requires the Council and Chief Administrative Officer to review all 94 recommendations made in the inspection report and provide a report to the Minister, which report is to be discussed in an open session of Council and approved by Council resolution following the restoration of Council quorum on the plan to address each recommendation in the inspection report or an explanation on why action has not been taken or will not be taken on any individual recommendation or recommendations. That process has begun with the administration preparing a spreadsheet of the report recommendations, which is attached to this request for decision. Those actions have already been taken or are in progress, will form the basis of the presentation once council quorum has been restored, putting the newly elected council in a position to consider what further actions are required in preparing a report to the minister on the plan to address each recommendation. And as is seen in the spreadsheet, we have identified who will be the lead, and that will be the director of the department, the staff under that director who will be assigned, the action taken, and a completion of that particular recommendation. Administration is proposing, Mr. Official Administrator, to have an updated report to yourself at the June 11th regular meeting of Council that will clearly demonstrate the actions that have been taken to address many of these particular issues, and we'll be pleased to share that information with yourself and again form the basis of the information that will be presented to the newly elected council at their orientation in middle July. With that, respectfully, Mr. Official Administrator, ask you to consider the motion that the Official Administrator accept the administration report on the Deloitte Inc. City of Chestermere Municipal Inspection Report recommendations as information.
Mr. Vincent, just one question to you. This information will be available on the city's website, I'm sure, as well, will it not? On a regular basis, on an ongoing?
I would suspect at the direction of yourself during your continuing term as official administrator, should that be the case, we'll be pleased to do so. And once council has reestablished quorum, we'll take their direction from them at that time. But I think it would be prudent to report to the community on the progress that's being made on the recommendations.
Thank you, Mr. Vincent. With that, I'll move that the official administrator accept the administration report on the Deloitte Inc. City of Chestermere Municipal Inspection Report recommendations for information. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Ms. Watt, please. Retirement of assets.
Hello again, Mr. Official Administrator. I'm here to present the RFD for Retirement of Assets Policy, otherwise known as ARO. Council recommendations. Motion that the official administrator accept policy 454 as the asset retirement obligation ARO policy. Subject background. Asset retirement obligation ARO is a legal obligation associated with the retirement of a tangible capital asset, which refers to the permanent removal of the asset through service through sale, abandonment, or disposal. The Public Sector Accounting Board, PSAB, approved a new accounting standard, PS 3280, covering ARO in 2018. This standard applies to all public sector entities, including municipalities, and became effective on April 1st, 2022. As a result, municipalities must include AROs in their 2023 financial statements. To address this, the Finance Department formed an ARO committee with representatives from each department to complete the inventory of assets list and draft an ARO policy. During the audit, all departments confirmed that no assets were retired in 2023. While the auditor was satisfied with the procedure, they recommended the approval of the ARO policy in 2024. The objective of the policy is to stipulate the accounting treatment for ARO to provide clear information about these assets and their end-of-life obligations to users of the financial report. Risk, failure to comply with PSAB requirements. Related policies, bylaws, and legislation, PSAB PS 3280, Asset Management Policy 650. Recommended options. Motion that the official administrator accept policy 454 as the asset retirement obligation ARO policy. Thank you.
One question through to you, Sandy, please. This just confirms that there was no assets that reached the end of their life or that were disposed of in 2023, correct?
That is correct.
That's for the public's information. Thank you. Can we have the motion, please? Move that the official administrator accept policy number 454 as the asset retirement obligation ARO policy. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, direct control townhouses. Kallen, please.
Good morning, Mr. Official Administrator. Today I am presenting a request for decision on development permit DP24-DCR3 B2B-01, an application for R3 direct control back-to-back townhouses located at 1 to 13 Waterford Glen and 10 to 22 Waterford Link. As per section 3.2.3F in the land use bylaw, the development officer shall refer applications in a residential multi-unit district, R-3, direct control district to council for a decision. The subject development permit proposes 8 back-to-back townhouses, as shown in Exhibit B, with each unit being freehold ownership. The purpose of this district is to provide for a back-to-back form of townhouse development. The proposed uses and housing types align with the land use bylaw and specifically the requirements of the direct control district. Dwelling back-to-back townhouses is a permitted use in the district. The proposed setbacks and lot coverage are in compliance with the direct control district requirements, with each unit requiring a variance for a height of 13 meters, whereas 12 meters is permitted. Implications are as noted in the report. Administration does not anticipate any significant risks should the development permit be approved. Administration recommends a motion that the official administrator approve DP 24-DC R3 B2B-01 direct control back-to-back townhouses subject to the conditions included in Exhibit A. Do you have any questions?
I have no questions. Thank you. I'll move that the official administrator conditionally approve DP 24-DCR3B2B-01 direct control back-to-back townhouses, 8 units, subject to conditions included in Exhibit A. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Carry on. Thank you.
All right, and now I will be presenting for a request for decision on development permit application DP 24 CWP DC-01 affecting 60 lots located in the proposed community of Clearwater Park. Same as the last request for decision, section 3.2.3F in the land use bylaw requires that development officer shall refer applications with a residential multi-unit district, R3 direct control district, to council for a decision. This development permit proposes single detached, semi-detached, and townhouse dwellings on 60 separate lots along Chestermere Boulevard, as well as Clearview Court. The purpose of this district is to provide for multi-unit residential development, along with semi-detached and a limited number of single-detached dwellings to increase a variety of dwelling types within the community. The purpose of this application is to approve the building envelope within which the structures are required to be constructed regarding minimum setbacks from the property lines, maximum height permitted, lot coverage, and product type. The elevations and floor plan drawings are to be submitted at the building permit stage. The plans submitted at the building permit stage are required to meet the architectural guidelines as set by Arcadis Professional Services, and also be stamped by Arcadis Professional Services to ensure that these guidelines are adhered to. The proposed uses and housing types align with the land use bylaw and specifically the requirements of the direct control district. The proposed setbacks for principal buildings and building height are in compliance, and the lot coverage requires a variance to permit 55% lot coverage for all structures with 15% allotted for accessory buildings, whereas 10% is permitted. The side yard setback for accessory buildings requires a variance to permit a 0-meter setback for attached garages for townhouse and semi-detached lots, whereas 0.6 meters is required. The proposed building envelope can be seen in Exhibit B, which includes the development permit plans. Implications are as noted, and administration does not anticipate any significant risks should the development permit be approved. Administration recommends a motion that the official administrator approve DP 24 CWP DC-01 Clearwater Park Direct Control Residential 60 lots, subject to the conditions included in Exhibit A.
Thank you, Colin. We have no questions. We have the motion, please. Move that the official administrator conditionally approve DP 24-CWPDC-01 Clearwater Park Direct Control Residential 60 lots, subject to the conditions included in Exhibit A. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Vincent.
Thank you, Mr. Official Administrator. The City of Chestermere, as recent, has been responding diligently to the Honorable Rick McIver, Minister of Municipal Affairs, submitting bi-monthly progress reports under Directive Number 12 of the directives issued under Ministerial Order Number MSD 002/23. When Progress Report Number 6 was submitted on March 12th of 2024, Administration requested confirmation from the Minister of the directives he deemed had met his satisfaction. In correspondence dated May 10th of 2024, to the official administrator, the Minister has now provided that confirmation. The Minister noted that directives 2, 8A, 9, 12A, and 12B were ongoing, which aligns with the administration submission. The Minister has noted that the following directives require further action in order to be completed: 1, 3A, 3B, 5A, 5F, 6A, 7, and 11. The following directives are now deemed to have been completed to the Minister's satisfaction: 4A, 4B, 5B, 5C, 5D, 5E, 6B, 8B, 10A, 10B, which gives the administration a great deal of satisfaction and pride in having been able to successfully complete this work. The Minister has issued a new Ministerial Order number MSD 044/24, directing the Council for the City of Chestermere, following the restoration of Council quorum, to provide the Minister a plan for the completion of these directives no later than September 30th of 2024. The administration is actively working toward completion of a report on the remaining and outstanding directives for presentation at today's meeting, regular meeting of Council. So, attached to the report, Mr. Official Administrator, and circulated as part of the agenda package is Municipal Affairs Directives Progress Report number 7. I'm very proud to highlight that we show those directives that have been completed, highlighted in green, so it's easily to pick up. In future reports, those directives will no longer appear, so the report will be much shorter. And we have also included for everybody's information the update and action plan, and each directive is exactly the wording that came out of the ministerial order in terms of the direction and what his expectations are in order to meet his satisfaction. So it's very clear, very concise, very open, and very transparent. Very happy to report this particular success. I thank all of the staff at the city who have worked so hard to assist in that, and in particular Mr. Morrison and Legislative Services and his staff. With that, I wish you, Mr. Official Administrator, that you might consider the following recommendations: that the Official Administrator accept the correspondence from the Honorable Rick McIver, Minister of Municipal Affairs, dated May 10th, 2024, with Ministerial Order number MSD 044/24 attached as information, and that the Official Administrator direct administration prepare a report and a response to the Minister's correspondence and the Ministerial Order for today's meeting, scheduled meeting. That's been completed, so we can strike the second one. So just the first resolution, please, sir.
Mr. Vincent, thank you to you and your team for the work you've done in this. I know it's been a long haul since December 4th. You've done an outstanding job, and I just want to express my appreciation for all the work your team has done. Good work. I'll move that the Official Administrator accept the correspondence from the Honorable Rick McIver, Minister of Municipal Affairs, dated May 10th, 2024, with Ministerial Order number MSD 044/24 attached as information. So moved. All in favor? Carried. And with that, we're going to move into closed session, and it will be a very short closed session, so about 5 minutes if you can give us, please. So with that, I'll move that the Official Administrator move into closed session at 11:28 a.m. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Welcome back, everyone. Just before dealing with our items coming out of closed session, we've got a couple matters to deal with. Mr. Vincent, would you make sure that the progress report number 7 on the directives recommendation from the minister is posted on the website so that we can keep the public informed of the progress that you've done there, please?
It'll be my pleasure, Mr. Official Administrator. I believe it was included with the agenda package, if I'm not mistaken, so it's already available, but we'll have it posted on our section of information and notices on our website. Thank you, sir.
If we could, please. And I think we got one motion to deal with for Dawson Landing, too. Move that the official administrator rescind motion number 240514-50 as follows. Motion that the official administrator approve the Dawson Landing outline plan as may have been amended. So moved. All in favor? Carried. And then the motion that the official administrator approve the revised Dawson Landing outline plan dated May 2024. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Now, moving out of closed session, Mr. Vincent, if you could speak to 10.1, please, recovery of misspent municipal funds.
Mr. Official Administrator, my pleasure. The Deloitte Inc. City of Chestermere Municipal Inspection Report identifies a litany of expenditures during the period of October 18th, 2021 to December 4th, 2023 without proper approval or authorization. At the May 13th, 2024 special meeting of council, the official administrator instructed the interim CEO to pursue all legal means to recover funds that were expended without proper authority from all parties as detailed in the Deloitte Inc. City of Chestermere Municipal Inspection Report. The interim CEO has contacted the legal solicitors, Reynolds, Mirth, Richards, and Farmer, to review the report and to receive advice on what appropriate legal proceedings might be pursued in order to recover all funds that were expended without proper authority from all parties as detailed in the Deloitte Inc. City of Chestermere Municipal Inspection Report. The official administrator and myself met with legal counsel on May 21st, 2024 at their offices in Edmonton, Alberta, at which this matter was reviewed in detail. Having undertaken a detailed and comprehensive review of the Deloitte Inc. City of Chestermere Municipal Inspection Report and all of the background and support documentation which had been provided for their review, Reynolds, Mirth, Richards, and Farmer has, based on their opinion, there is sufficient grounds to pursue the recovery of funds, made a number of recommendations to the City of Chestermere on the course of action and legal proceedings which would be most appropriate to pursue in an effort to recover all funds that were expended without proper authority from all parties as detailed in the Deloitte Inc. City of Chestermere Municipal Inspection Report. Successful recovery of all funds would be that were expended without proper authority from all parties would ensure those who were guilty of those actions are held accountable, and funds that were expended without proper authority would be recovered by the City of Chestermere. The effort to recover funds will need to proceed through legal processes which will likely take time and effort and will result in the city incurring legal costs. Legal counsel has been engaged to review the files, assess the situation, prepare recommendations, and should they be directed, to file statement of claims on behalf of the City of Chestermere. For these services, administration notes that the City of Chestermere has sufficient budget and 2024 budget to cover those expenses, estimated to be $30,000. The City of Chestermere, though intending to recover all funds that were expended without proper authority, may be successful in recovering only a portion of those funds. It is my respectful submission, Mr. Official Administrator, that you consider the following. That the official administrator, upon the review undertaken by legal counsel and based on the advice that there is sufficient basis to pursue the recovery of funds that were expended without proper authority, direct administration to have legal counsel prepare and present in person a full report at the June 11th, 2020 regular meeting of council outlining the appropriate legal proceedings and the amount sought to be recovered against which party or parties these actions and proceedings should be lodged.
Anything further, Mr. Vincent?
No, that's all.
I think do we still need this motion, I believe, Kallen? Move that the official administrator come out of closed session at 11:41 a.m. So moved. All in favor? Carried. To be preceding the other two. Mr. Vincent, it's unfortunate the city has to expend $30,000 to pursue this, but this is in the best interest of the city. This money was spent without proper authorization, and the city needs to extend every effort they can to recover the funds from whatever parties are responsible. Move that the official administrator, upon the review undertaken by legal counsel based on the advice that there is sufficient basis to pursue the recovery of funds expended without property authority, direct administration to have legal counsel prepare and present a full report at the June 11th, 2024 regular meeting with council outlining the appropriate legal proceeding and amounts sought to be recovered against which parties or parties these actions and proceedings should be lodged. Prior to calling the questions, I just have a couple comments. We're in the midst of a by-election, and I know there is a forum on June 11th, and that is irrelevant to what we're doing here. We are pursuing recovery of funds for the city, and it is appropriate to have our legal counsel here on June 11th. That date was determined before we were aware of any forum. With that, I'll call the question on the motion. All in favor? Carried. So moved. Thank you, Mr. Vincent. Moving on to the next item.
Mr. Official Administrator, the interim CEO, myself, was appointed by the Minister on December 4th, 2023 to serve in the capacity of interim CEO. The official administrator on December 5th, 2023 regular meeting approved the employment agreement for a period of 6 months. The current employment agreement expires on June 5th. In order for myself to continue, which I will willingly do so, serve in the position of interim CEO, it is imperative a new employment agreement be approved. With that, I suggest to the official administrator, if he wants me to hang around, approve the employment agreement between the City of Chestermere and the interim CEO as reviewed, and that the official administrator be authorized to execute the employment agreement on behalf of the City of Chestermere. And just as a footnote, this is exactly the same agreement that was entered into on December 5th. It's simply being renewed, and there's a 2-week clause should the council, once it reestablishes quorum, decide they no longer need my services. They simply have to give 2 weeks of notice. They're not bound by any lengthy contract or any significant severance package whatsoever. Thank you, Mr. Official Administrator.
Mr. Vincent, we will be not relinquishing you from your work here. We've terminated enough employees over the last 2 years here. Move that the official administrator approve the employment agreement between the City of Chestermere and the interim Chief Administrative Officer, CAO, Pat Vincent, as reviewed, and that the official administrator be authorized to execute the employment agreement on behalf of the city. So moved. All in favor? Carried. And I believe that concludes our business for today. I apologize for the confusion we had earlier today. I'll move that the official administrator adjourn the meeting at 11:45 a.m. So moved. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.